Hey world. So today, it's an interesting day, right? I felt the need to do a middle of the day recap because there was just so much going on today. In so many ways, I've it doesn't. So many things just don't affect me anymore, right? And I don't think people do it intentionally, and I don't think it's it's on purpose. But it's always true, right? The people closest to you or that you feel the closest to sometimes impact you the most, positive, negative, any direction, either way. Today was a huge day for me, and it was a great day, right? I mean, it really is a great day. I'm happy. I mean, today's just yeah. My contacts are bad because I slept 3.5 hours, maybe four at most. Probably gonna go to bed very early because I'm exhausted. Um, it's so much goes on, right? Like my son was having a bad night last night, so he was acting out. My oldest went inward and kind of shut down a little bit. She got mopey. My youngest decided not to sleep last night, and it was this perfect trifecta of me absorbing all their energy and just feeling extremely overwhelmed, trying to settle them down. And as much as that would have thrown me for a loop in the past, and it would have really like just put me in the submission, um, this time it didn't. This time This time it really, I allowed it, I felt it, I processed it. I woke up, I was still off, but I did my routine. I stuck to it no matter how tired I was because I know that it's something I want to do. I'm committed to what I'm doing, and I know that I need to do it for me, and I am. Um, and then I had a really deep, open-hearted, safe conversation with somebody that means a lot to me, and we both had a chance to share our perspectives because so much gets lost in communication sometimes. Um, you know, everybody hears things different. Everybody has their own filter. Everybody has their own way of communicating. And there was just a lot of unnecessary pain on both sides. Let's just leave it at that. Uh, and it was self created from both sides. It was, but this morning having that conversation, not only did it make me feel at peace, it also made me realize a lot of things, right? I know I've discussed it. I haven't made a lot. I've made mistakes and I've done a lot of things. But I do realize that some of my mistakes over the last few weeks even had their reasons and their purpose. Um, life has a funny way of presenting us things that we're ready to accept. And when we're ready to accept things, life has a way of presenting things to us. The way that the synchronicity and serendipity and fate and, whatever you want to call it, right? All these things in my life that I've been working on and piecing together over the last 41 years just are falling in place. Um, it's like out of nowhere, right? Like all these things that I've been waiting for and wondering and scared of and whatever else. I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever gets thrown my way, right? And I know there's going to be a lot more hiccups over the next few months, and I know that there's going to be a lot more pain coming. I just know it. And that's fine. I'm okay with that as well. Because out of that pain, I will have more growth, more learning experiences, and a deeper understanding of myself. And this is all preparing me for where I'm going, right? And what I'm working on and things I'm building and the way I want to make an impact slash legacy on this planet and on humanity. Um, I believe we're at a very crucial time right now. We're at a pivot point, or we're at a crucial, you know, adapt. Yeah, it's a pivot. I mean, this is a pivot. This is. society and humanity is at a point now where there is so much hate. There's so much that gets swept under the rug. There's so much smoke and mirrors that people are terrified, right? Like they're just scared. Um, and I think people have a right to be scared right now. I think there's more that we don't know than we do know, and there's definitely more one-sided information than probably ever before in the past. Because we all listen to one perspective, the perspective that we relate to. And sometimes you've got to find the truth somewhere in between, right? And I guess it's the same with communication with individuals, communication in companies, communication just across the board. There's each side's perspective, then there's the truth somewhere in the middle for everybody. And if we're not willing to listen to the other side, whether it's any topic that you can think of that has a divisive nature to it, and there are many, then what are we really doing here, right? Yeah, I took the glasses off halfway through the day, Kenny. Um, Something about going outside in the heat and then coming back in into the AC and having them fog up annoys me. Um, it's I'll put your comments so I'm not just talking to myself, I guess. It makes me feel a little bit better about life. Thanks, bud, for showing up. I appreciate you. It's There's so much to be said for it, right? And there's so much to be thankful for in all the divisive things that are coming across our paths right now, whether it's religion, race, political, um, feminism, toxic masculinity. I mean, there's so many topics, and humanity is getting desensitized to all these things. And it seems like the groups that are really behind the world and that are really throwing money around are very happy with us being divided, right? They want a divided society because, it's easier to control. Um, there's something about waking up and seeing things for what they are and accepting things, right? But then there's a difference because we all have the ability to step in and impact change. And this is my point of view on it, right? If I can impact one person a day for the next 40 years, then we're talking about approximately, in theory, 12,000, more than that, 14, 15,000 people. Now, if each one of those people, let's say, impacts one person every other day, I mean, you're talking about it growing and you're talking about reaching real masses very quick. If there is a chance that one person can have that large of an impact, then why can't it be any of us? Why can't it be me? Why can't it be Kenny? Why can't it be, anyone, right? I know so many good people that are trying so hard and so many people that are supporting others, so many people that are trying to guide others and show others the way, right? And I'm very fortunate that I've built an amazing team around myself, and I've been fortunate to really have a group that I trust in all different ways. And I believe that during this life and during this time period, we all need coaches for things. We all need people that we can emulate, that we can understand, that we can empathize with, and that we can not follow, but at least give us a guide, right? Give us a map, because this world is so confusing and we really don't know what to believe anymore. So at what point do any of us stand up and say, where can I get more information? Where can I find out what my truth is? And I was talking to somebody that means a lot to me today, and there's this, stigma about how how they were raised, and it was always, smile, put your best foot forward, right? And now this person, years later, is trying to be their best self every day. And what I'm trying to explain to the person is it's okay not to smile. It's okay to be you, right? And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to have a day that you're not putting your best face forward, but your best self forward, right? Because that's what it really comes down to. It's not always about, you know, having your best appearance or making your first impression, right? Like that's superficial stuff that never fills a void, you know. No matter what your talent is, and no matter what your looks are, and no matter any of those things, they don't fill the void. And we can fool ourselves and we can really pretend that they do. For me, it was my insecurities. It was my drinking, my drugs. That was what I used for a long time, right? Been sober 14 years. So since then, it was different things. I hid behind fear. I hid behind the unknown. I hid behind being uncomfortable. So I just stayed comfortable. And if I'm doing that, I'm not doing any good to anyone. I can honestly say today, I like being uncomfortable. I like just being. I like just being with me. I'm very happy with that. And that's not something I ever thought I'd say either. Um, but I am, and I love myself, and I'm showing myself love every day by the way I eat, by the way I take care of myself, by the way I'm evolving and putting the work in, and doing all these steps and pieces. Sorry, again, slept 3.5 hours, so I'm tired. Um, and running around after 3 kids, doing lots of schoolwork. It's amazing how hard fourth and third grade math is when I was so good at math. I mean, I taught myself calculus at 13. You would assume I'd be good at third and fourth grade math, but the way that they teach kids today is just so backwards. It doesn't even make sense. There's like no logical sense to it, but that's besides the point. Um, there's just there's so much in this world, and there's so much within ourselves that we need to be able to look at and be proud of and love. Um, we all have some type of resentments, anger, self-hatred in some ways, right? Because society over the last, let's say, let's go before I was born, right? Let's go back to the late 60s or even early mid 60s. Society's always said you have to be a certain way. You have to fit in. You don't want to be the outsider. You don't want to be this person, and I never fit in. I was always the outsider. I was always, a chameleon with groups of people. I was always whatever I needed to be. That's what I tried to be for everyone else. Um, I gotta say, today I'm very happy being different. I'm very happy standing out. I'm very happy being an outsider. I don't need to fit in. I don't want to fit in. Why do I want to fit into somebody else's vision? And not only that, why do I want to fit into somebody else's vision that they're just trying to fit into? I mean, if we all embraced ourselves, this world would be a much happier place, right? And as I'm losing self-judgment and I'm becoming more of a no judgment type person, I'm also not judging others as much. And I don't put up with it either when somebody starts judging. I just walk away from the conversation. I have nothing to say. It's not my place. Who am I to say anything about anyone? It doesn't matter. People are going to live their life their way, no matter who they are, how I feel about them, no matter, whether I'm emotionally attached or not emotionally attached, whether I care, whether I don't care, whether I'm just indifferent. I mean, they're going to live their life their way. And I can't, the only thing I can do is if it's somebody I really care about, I can give them examples of how I am doing things and how I'm changing. But again, that doesn't work for everybody either. I'm not like everybody else. I am myself. Everybody has their own path, their own journey. And yeah, Kenny, I should have left my glasses out. My eyes are driving me nuts now. Um, you know, at the end of the day, it, this world needs to really wake the hell up because people are in so much pain and there's so much self pressure and outside pressure to be this perfect person. Yeah. I love you, Kenny. Yes, you are different, my friend. And I love you to death. You're awesome, my friend. You really are. I appreciate you so much. You know, again, going back to this pain thing, this world has created so many stigmas, so many just you have to be this way, that people live with this deep rooted pain. People live with these fears of talking about their deep rooted pain, right? Because they don't want to lose what they've created. And I was like that for a long time. But at some point I realized that talking about it freed me, right? And who knows, maybe it's Gary Vee, right? Because he's always saying if you put your secrets out there, then nobody can take them from you. Um, but some secrets are different than others, right? Some involve people that are still alive. Some involve people that have their own reputation. So you don't want to do that either. I understand that. But there's something therapeutic about it. There's something therapeutic about going live every night and having these recaps. And at some point they will help others, and I'm okay with that. But for now, it's helping me process. It's helping me consolidate my day, right? And seeing the moments, whether it was laying down with Sid, whether it was doing schoolwork with Thomas, whether it was doing schoolwork with Michelle, whether it was, whatever it was, right? Watching a movie with them tonight, the house being a mess because they watched a movie. I don't care. I'll clean it tomorrow morning. Again, that doesn't matter. What matters is I did the best I could. I'm being my best self daily, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy with myself, and it means so much to me. And it's I am filling myself, and I am evaporating my voids, and I think that gives me power for myself. I can say today that in the past I've had enormous, enormous voids in my life, and I always looked in the wrong places to fill it because I never wanted to look at myself. But now I don't need it. I don't need the outside validation. I'm not looking for it. I'm not asking for it. I'm just putting it out there, right? Like, I don't even tag people anymore. I don't see a point. Now, granted, the algorithms on all the platforms changed, and the visibility is almost gone for almost everyone. I'm getting posts from 5 days ago, which I don't understand if I'm refreshing how it's the newest post, but that's fine. Because truth is, I'm seeing exactly what I need to see at the moment, and that's fine too. There's there's something to be said about accepting everything the way it is. If my real goal is to leave a legacy, and I'm okay with impacting one person a day, then it doesn't matter if I have 180 followers, if I think I have 17 on here. I don't even know, maybe 15. No clue. I don't really even look. Or if I have two, right? Like, I mean, even if it's just Kenny at this point, it's fine. I'm okay with that. I love talking to Kenny, so this is great. Um, I don't need a million people. I mean, one day maybe I'll have it, but that's not my goal. It's not my intent. I don't need a million people that aren't going to listen or interact or engage anyway, right? That are just going to, try and sell whatever they're selling or try and be where everybody else is. But there is something about volume also, right? Because, I listen to the Gary V's, the Ed Milet's, the David Meltzer's, right? Those are the three that really have that bigger names that have really had an impact. And I listened and I listened. Well, let me change that. I heard and I heard and I heard, but I didn't listen. I didn't understand. I didn't put it into action until I was ready to. So, I mean, listening to it was great. And having that in my database was awesome for when I was ready, because now a lot of those things make sense that never made sense at the time. And looking back, I think it was really helpful in many, many ways. Um, somewhere along the line, there's in taking information from people is a brilliant way to understand things, and it's a brilliant way. It's also about, okay, so let me take a step back, right? So there's been times throughout this process, like when I first 2 years ago went back to Florida, and I was in a really, really, really dark mental space, and emotional. I mean, every level actually. And the only one that I actually could listen to was Gary Vee because he has that abrasive Jersey way about him, right? And the funny thing is about Gary Vee, Ed Milet, and David Meltzer, they all come across differently. But if you really listen, they all have the same message. They just present it in their own way. And it comes down to relatability. And when I was in that mindset, I needed the Gary Vee mentality or relatability. As I progressed, I started listening more to Ed Milet. Um, and then as I'm moving forward, I'm really listening more to David Meltzer, right? Because he's this Kenny guy must be special to you. You are Kenny. I truly appreciate you, my man. You're awesome, buddy, and I tremendously respect you. Um, but as I've evolved and gone through these different ways and angles and everything else that I've been doing, as I transition, what I intake transitions, what I output transitions. So there's this full cycle, right, of how I'm coming across, what I'm intaking, what I'm listening to, and what I'm just not. Um, there's people I used to listen to that I can't anymore. Whether it's because on some level I just can't relate, whether it's because maybe I don't feel like they're being vulnerable enough because I'm just such a vulnerable person, right? Like I need that vulnerability because that's really relatable to me. Maybe it's because it's just not content I want to consume. And it's nothing against them. It's just not my fit, right? It doesn't help me fill my cup at this point. Now, at some point later, it might. At some point later, I might listen to all of everyone again. But for now, I'm listening to those that I trust the most and that I care about the most, and that I know have my best intentions in heart when they speak to me, in soul. And I can't say that I have a ton of those people, but I have enough, right? And I have a great core, and I have a very strong circle around me that really embraces me for me, loves me for me, accepts me for me, and wants to see the best for me. And I want the same for them in return, right? Like I just want to give it back to them. Now, I'm a little different. I'm more emotional. I'm more wear my heart on my sleeve, like we've talked about. And so at times it gets overwhelming. At times it's too much. At times it just doesn't feel right, or it doesn't feel like the right time to be that way. So I don't. That's the difference between now and before. Before I would have just spewed anyway. Right time, wrong time, whatever it is. Now I actually think about when it's the right time, when it's the wrong time. I actually think about, you know, is now a time to hold back or is now a time to put it out there? And, I've told a couple people lately, I'm going to always support you in whatever you do. But if I can't relate, I'm not going to comment because it's not fair, right? Because it's not fair to me because I'm not being my true self. And really it's not fair to them because then I'm just, giving hot air. For me, everything that now has been coming out of my mouth comes from a place of deep rooted heart and soul. And it's exactly how I feel through and through. So there's going to be circumstances that I just have nothing to say because I don't feel it. Then there's going to be ones that I just have a lot to say, right? Oof. It depends where I'm at that moment. It depends what the circumstance is. It depends on a million different things. If I'm doing fourth grade math and somebody's asking me, you know, for an emotional input, That transition is probably going to be a little difficult because I really don't get fourth grade math anymore. It makes no sense. The way that they're teaching math is ridiculous. It's like taking us back a century. I mean, I started watching videos on YouTube about how the Japanese do math because I'm considering teaching my kids that because this is crazy. It makes no sense. There's got to be better ways to get the mind to advance rather than fall backwards, but that's besides the point. Again, rant. Um, I think what it means where I'm at today, and I'm going to cut this short because my eyes are driving me nuts, and I hear my kids, and I got to go check on them because I don't. They're being loud, very loud. Um, I think what it means is I'm being true to myself today. I'm being present. I'm being true to myself. I got a lot done today, even though it doesn't seem like it in lots of ways, but I did get a lot done, and I'm just happy and I'm proud of myself, and you know, I like how I'm handling things now. It's a much healthier way for me to do so. Um, so, Kenny, as always, I appreciate you, bud. Thank you. Um, although I would do this alone, and I'm fine with that, having you there just makes it that much better, my man. And I appreciate knowing that you're there. Thanks, Kenny. And everybody have an amazing night, and we will catch up tomorrow.